Welcome into the Geico Seminole postgame here on Sun Sports. Whit Watson, Terry Norvell, Florida State 21-14, a winner over Alabama in Jacksonville. Right now, Tom Block standing by with the head coach, Bobby Bowden. Let's go to Jacksonville.
Thank you, Whit. Coach, this was a game that I think Bear Bryant would have been proud of. That was as hard a fought a football game as we've seen in a while.
He would have loved it until those last two scores they got. You know, that's what I was thinking. I said, boy, he'd love this game. Yeah, it looked like it was going to be a nothing ball game until...
All right, technical difficulties in Jacksonville as Tom was on the field there with the head coach, Bobby Bowden. Hopefully they'll record that interview for us, and we'll have a chance to play it back for you later. In the meantime, live TV on a Chevy tailgate weekend. Whit Watson, Terry Norvell in the studio for the Geico Seminole postgame. And, well, let's pick up on something that Coach Bowden was about to talk about, and that was the first half against the second half. A little bit later, we'll show you some of the offensive numbers for both teams, and it was truly a study in contrast in terms of offense on both sides, not just for Florida State. Both teams much better in the second half. And in the fourth quarter, a wild final sequence here, Terry.
Yeah, right here, Florida State up 14-0. John Parker Wilson rallying his team. DJ Hall with a wonderful catch. Goes up high, gets a foot in, 14-7 at that point. We move. First play after the score, the best call of the season so far by Jimbo Fisher. And out to Dakota Fagg, 70 yards for the touchdown. Alabama certainly run blitzing. Great call, but Alabama would not quit. Keith Brown gets drilled, but he does score. 21-14. Onside kick. Jimmy Johns for Alabama. The play, the ball did hit him in the helmet. As you see, the right call. Illegal touching Alabama. The ball did not go the prerequisite 10 yards. Alabama does not get the ball, and as you saw moments ago, first down Florida State, a couple of kneel downs, ball game. Florida State wins a big game. If ever a program needed a feel-good win over the last several years, it's this Florida State football team.
And if you come back and watch Primetime Knowles Sunday at 7 o'clock, listen to the call that Keith Jones made on that Dakota Fagg touchdown. As he pointed out, it was the same play that Fagg had blown earlier in the game. There was a drop, and Jimbo Fisher went right back to it. It was a play that Alabama was not expecting, and that was the tipping point in the ballgame.
Jimbo Fisher right there went against every single tendency. The tendency there was you're up by 7. Alabama had 3 timeouts. Every football manual says run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. At worst, force Alabama to burn their timeouts if you give them the ball back via the punt. Jimbo Fisher knew, or had a hunch anyway, Whit, that Alabama would crowd the line. They brought their safeties up. When Fagg did his down and out, and he made that defender miss, nobody was back there. They were in run support. That was the call of the ball game right there by Jimbo Fisher.
You know, for all the perceived difficulties for Florida State this year, they came into this game with the 3rd best defense in the ACC, and they put a ton of pressure on John Parker Wilson, the young quarterback for Alabama, getting a lot of guys in the Alabama backfield throughout the night.
Let's be fair, we've talked all offense so far. This game was won by Florida State's defense from the get-go. Florida State was all over John Parker Wilson. 3rd quarter right here, Everett Brown sacks J.P. Wilson. 4th down, Alabama has to punt. Then you see Florida State up 7, but Bama was moving the ball in the 3rd quarter. The big sack, Derek Nicholson comes up here along with Brown. They flush Parker Wilson. Brown forces the ball out in the scrum there. Florida State gets it. 1 play later, Anton Smith scores on the first play to put Florida State up 14 right there to nothing. It appeared it was going to be a blowout at that point with Florida State playing great defense. That was a defensive win there by Florida State. Make no mark about it. Xavier Lee and the offense will get a lot of credit. Florida State's defense won that ball game.
If you are just joining us, just now switching over to Sun Sports, this is the Geico Seminole postgame live on a Chevy tailgate weekend. Whit Watson along with Terry Norvell. You have not missed Bobby Bowden's press conference. Once he speaks in Jacksonville, we'll bring that to you live right here on Sun Sports. Well, Keith Jones and Paul Kennedy had the call. Primetime Knowles Sunday at 7 here on Sun Sports. Let's check in with those two gentlemen right now in Jacksonville. And Paul, start us off with the defensive performance by the Seminoles. What'd you think?
Well, I was kind of hoping that Mickey Andrews would get the shutout. It had been fitting. He played for Bear Bryant. He's a 2-time All-American there, played on a couple of national championship teams. He had a shot at that today. I think his defense offered one of their great games in recent memory.
You take away the last 2 drives by Alabama, and by the way, hats off to Alabama for those last 2 drives. defense puts in its best performance probably in the last 3 or 4 seasons. They were all over Wilson the entire ball game, and when they weren't, they were in coverage, forcing him to scramble. They created the big turnover down at the 5-yard line, which resulted in Florida State's touchdown easy. I mean, it was just a great performance.
That mistake was the difference in this game. Ever Brown with the strip, LaTroy Guyan coming up with it. So Bobby Bowden gets the win. I mean, you played for Bobby Bowden. You were recruited by Alabama. Put it into words what this means for Florida State.
Well, you got to remember, this is a 42-year play for Coach Bobby Bowden. He's been a head coach in his 42nd season now. He always wanted to play against Alabama and be the head coach when it happened. Think about something that you've wanted for 42 years, and then finally it comes to fruition. I can't imagine if he would be willing to share with other than his closest family members what this really, really means to him.
Yeah, you could feel the pride in the stadium here, guys. Here, the fans stayed. The band is still playing behind it. As the Alabama people began to file out, it was Florida State. Bobby Bowden said it best when he said there is a iron curtain around the state of Alabama. For all he accomplished, really what everybody back in his native state really paid attention to was the Tide or the Auburn Tigers. Well, now they're paying attention to the kid from Woodlawn High School who finally beats Bama here in Jacksonville.
All right, Paul Kennedy and Keith Jones in Jacksonville. Guys, thanks very much. More from the stadium as we continue with our live Geico Seminole post-game show. We are going to get to the Xavier Lee question. As you saw, if you were watching this game, Lee did come in at quarterback in the second quarter, did finish the game, and played exceptionally well for a guy that has not taken many snaps, in fact, very few snaps at all this season. We'll get to that in 1 second. Let's stay with Florida State's defense for the moment and talk about the job the secondary did, Terry, in coverage.
Vintage Mickey Andrews, you had pressure up front. Not much time for a quarterback to throw the ball, meaning your defensive secondary doesn't have to cover very long. Wilson flushed, has to scramble, goes to his right, ends up just aborting the play, has to throw it away. Second quarter, a lot of the same. Wilson again trying to pass under duress right there as you see guys breaking free. Bama's O-line had no shot at blocking the D-line of Florida State the entire game. And don't forget the guys in the back of the secondary. I was concerned about the secondary covering Alabama's big physical receivers. Well, they stayed right on these guys like glue. And because of that pressure, the Tony Carters, the Garvins, the Myron Rolls, the Williams, they didn't have to stay with those guys that long. I mean, it was either get it off or go down for Wilson. So a lot of combination defense played by Florida State.
Let's review the timeline for a second at the quarterback position in this game today. Drew Weatherford gets the start. He goes 7 of 11, 42 yards, replaced by Devontre Richardson and then by Xavier Lee. And we'll have more on that in just a moment, because right now Bobby Bowden is at the microphone in Jacksonville addressing the media. We'll join him now live.
It's a bold setting. It's a record-breaking bold setting against two great traditional football teams. One that's had tradition for 113 years, and another that has started traditions 60 years ago, you know. So, again, my feeling is one of elation that I hadn't had this feeling in a long time because we hadn't done this in a long time, in my opinion. You say, well, you beat so-and-so, yeah, but not Alabama. So anyway, I got any questions?
Bobby, it's never easy to change quarterbacks. What was your thinking when you put Lee in? What do you think he gave you that proved?
Yeah, he gave us a lift. He did what we've always wanted him to do, you know. But last year against Maryland, he got the call. He had the whole game, and he did a good job, but we lost. So then next week we started him, and we lost. So we wasn't sure if that was the answer, you know. And so he's been working. He didn't quit. He didn't give up. He kept working. And so he got an opportunity tonight. He gave us some mobility at quarterback. And he was, in my opinion, the offensive hero of the game.
Bobby, did he do enough to earn the starting job?
I wouldn't be surprised, but I'll let Jimbo make that call, you know. But I'll let him make that call. I hired him to do that.
Bobby,
If he doesn't make the right one, I'll correct it.
Now that it's over, all the anticipation, the build-up about this game, everything, now that it's over, what does it feel like knowing that barring an appearance in the bowl game, you may finish your career 1-0 against the team you...
Bama. Well, that is a lot. I won't brag about it, you know, but that beats being 0-1 against them, you know, so I'm glad we did win, but It was really a pleasure playing against him. Y'all don't realize when I was a kid what my love for that darn university was.
What does Xavier have this year he didn't have last year when he gave track?
Looked like he made better decisions. Looks like he made better decisions. He didn't make one bad one out there, and that was that interception he threw. But at least we went out, we went away fighting. You know, and like we said, there trying to sit on the ball, work on. We could have sat and worked up a field goal there, you know. But Jimbo was still trying to strike, and we hadn't let a pass. He let a pass get away from him, but that's the only one all night.
Coach, did you always think that Xavier had this in him, had this type of performance in him?
Well, Xavier has always been a young man with great potential, you know, with great potential. And I thought tonight he began to use that potential in a positive way. I noticed him. I didn't say anything to him, but I mentioned it to Jimbo. About last Wednesday, we had a scrimmage, and I said, Jimbo, number one, looks like he might be ready to go, don't he? He said, yeah, I thought he was too. You know, so his good practice paid off. What happened?
Talk about the defense. It seems like Florida State's starting to get back to that.
Well, the defense was just unbelievable. I hate to give up those last 2 touchdowns, but I hate that stinking prevent, whatever it is. You get ahead of somebody and you start rushing one person and drop 11. But anyway, that's the way you have to play ball sometime. But defense just did a magnificent job. You won the game. Defense, kicking was unbelievable, and then Xavier. That's the way I'm not especially in that order.
Bobby, you mentioned that last Wednesday. You said you thought he was ready to go. Did you anticipate coming into tonight that you were going to have to use him?
No, no, we don't go into a game, at least we haven't up to this time. We might eventually, but we don't go in there with a plan that we're going to play, we're going to let Xavier go in at a certain time, you know. But we did feel like he was more capable, and he did better than I thought he would be able to do. Very, very, very positive, very pleasing.
Coach, what can this do for momentum and confidence for the rest of the season?
Well, it does help us. It does help give us momentum, you know. Did Colorado lose today? Colorado beat Oklahoma? Yes. We didn't beat a bad club then, did we? I thought they were pretty good, you know. But anyway, that win was meant very much to us.
Bobby, Greg Carr and Dakota have taken a lot of flack for the way they played in the first 2 games, and both of them answered the bell tonight, 100-yard receiving games. Can you just talk about what those 2 did tonight?
Who got the 100?
Dakota and Greg both.
Both of them got 100. Well, that is really good. I'm just very pleased, you know, and but it was really every man on the team played his role. We put a substitute in here. Well, you know, we lost our dadgum tackle in the third quarter, I think, and old Boatman had to go over and play, and then they had to move so-and-so in the guard. I mean, we're thin there, boy. You know, we moved Prowse to tight end, man. We about given out of the offensive lineman, so it was a team victory all the way.
Was it emotional at all for you to beat Alabama? I mean, when you were coaching, looking over the other side of the field, did you have any?
You know when it'll be emotional is when I go home this summer up to Birmingham, and we go out to Roebuck, and we tee that thing up on the first tee box, and I can say, we whipped y'all. Because all the people I'll play with be Alabama buddies. We're all a bunch of old men.
Bobby, you ran that play with Xavier tonight with a direct snap. And that seems to be a play that's really come to college football here in the last year or so. Is every team going to have to use that?
Yeah. I was talking to CBS, the guys that call this game today CBS, and they were telling me about how people are doing this. And I said, well, that's the trend nowadays. They said, well, are you going to do it? I said, well, watch the game tomorrow and see. You know, so they perked up a little bit.
Coach, do you feel familiarity played a factor in this game at all, knowing Kevin Steele's tactics a little bit?
What's that?
Do you think familiarity played a factor in your offense's game, knowing Kevin Steele?
You know, you don't know. But the way we played defense, both of us, you thought somebody knew something about somebody. You know what? I said at the half, when they talked to me at the half, I said, this game is going to end up nothing to nothing. Unless somebody makes a mistake or somebody makes a big play. That's where it was going to be. You know, we finally got one big one on that pass out there. I don't remember how we got to a second one. Probably a big play, so I called a big pass or something. But, you know, our intention was to play Devontae actually before him. You know, use Devontae just to run. couldn't use him for the play the game, but the kid's a pretty good runner. We're going to get him in and try to run. But they destroyed what we were trying to do. So when he went in there, he just did one heck of a job. Which one?
The fumble that you guys recovered to set up the touchdown.
The sack on the 5.
It's got to be big. It's got to be big. What was that? What was the score at the time? 20.
It was 7-0.
7-0. Then they take the ball down and fumble on the 5.
No, they were on their own 5.
So their own 5.
Ball was stripped. Your second.
And they fumbled down and we got it. We didn't score nothing, did we?
Yeah, you scored the first Smith went around and scored.
Oh, that's not the first touchdown of the game, is it?
No.
That's second. Okay. I remember him scoring. If I get too old for y'all, let me know, will you?
Bobby, you realize that the last time you lost here was 1989, Brett Favre?
Yeah. If they'd have told us about him, we wouldn't have lost that. Nobody knew who Brett Favre was at that time. Yeah, we've been very fortunate we've had some of our biggest wins right here.
Bobby, it's been sort of a tumultuous off week. What does a big-time win like this do to the program?
Well, it's probably bigger than I can explain right now because it is big. Like I said, I had the feeling we hadn't won like this in a long time, and so it's got to put us in a positive mode next week now. Come back home and play next week and go from there.
How important was field position in this game?
Field position meant our kids did a great job. I tell you one way the game was won. When we got backed up, we came out better than they came out. Now at the end they came out, but the first of the game we could come out where we could punt, whereas they didn't come out and we kept getting good field position. Oh, field position's big.
Bobby, considering 4 top 10s lost today, what does that win over?
2 losses. I don't even know their scores yet.
Rutgers, Oklahoma, Texas,
Is that right?
West Virginia.
I got it. So what'd you ask?
Well, no, just how big is that Colorado win considered?
Oh, it's pretty doggone big. As you're playing and you go up against Colorado and you shut them out, they finally score in the last minute or something, and you think, well, they must not be very good. And then they won big last week and then beat Oklahoma. I can't believe that. It makes you feel like, hey, maybe you're better than you think.
This team's been inconsistent. It's kind of been one of the trademarks of this team. How do you take the success of tonight? You've got a week before NC State. How do you?
Well, you try to build on it. You see, you try to build on it. You're right. We've been terribly inconsistent. But now we won a ball game. We did this. He didn't turn the ball over, and that weren't on their end of the field, but he never turned it over on our end of the field where they could get points. So, I think it'll give us something to build on and help give us confidence. I felt like that our offense especially, and the offense especially, has lacked a little confidence. A little confidence. You're going to act like they got it, but I think it's lacking a little confidence. So this game probably helps confidence as much as anything we could have done.
Last thing I'll ask you about Xavier. Were you ever afraid you were going to lose him? And what does it say about him that he stuck around and worked through it and got another opportunity?
Well, I know it was tough on him. It was tough on him. See, this ain't the first time I've been around this. It was when I was working with Xavier, and I went through the same thing with Brad Johnson and Casey. I mean, there's 2 guys, both of them are juniors, sit together, and both of them are big league quarterbacks, and one of them's won the job for 2 years, and the other's got to just sit there, So I've been through this before, but he was patient and stayed with it. When I'm sure the popular thing would have been to take off, but he showed some persistence there, and I bet you it's going to pay dividends for him.
Okay.
That it? Okay, hey, thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob.
And you coming out to the...
Bobby Bowden in rare form, Terry Norvell. He was on top of his game in Jacksonville, talking about the fact that Colorado, a kiss for mom there on the way out of the media availability area. Talking about the fact that Colorado beat Oklahoma today, and you commented off the air that you think that was a setup. We think that he knew Colorado beat Oklahoma today, but wanted to have the media reminded of that fact that the team that Florida State beat in their last outing just beat Oklahoma.
Classic Bobby Bowden, the Jumbotron, obviously in the stadium, told him the outcome, but he threw it out there, kind of fishing for a compliment there.
All right, so Florida State beats Alabama by a final of 21-14. We'll continue with our live Geico Seminole postgame in just a moment. More interviews coming from Jacksonville. Tom Block is in the locker room. Back with more on Sun Sports after a quick timeout.
Nobody said this was going to be easy.
Now, see, if Geico.com had taken that approach, instead of telling everyone it's so easy a caveman can do it, I wouldn't be having an existential meltdown right now.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Hey, let me show you the grid. Turn it on. All right, so please.
Better not be on the internet, man. It's the Chevy model year in event, and we've just extended the best offer ever on the all-new Silverado Crew Cab. 0% APR for 60 months on Silverado half-ton crew cabs for well-qualified buyers. Just click and go to Chevy.com to find the one you want, then get to your Chevy dealer. That's right, we've just extended 0% APR for 60 months on Silverado Crew Cab. Click on Chevy.com, then see your Southern Chevy dealer.
Wherever you are, you'll love it at Lenny's, where sandwiches are made fresh from the deli case, hand-sliced to order one slice at a time, every time, and piled high on fresh bread, baked daily. Home to the Philly cheesesteak. Our regular is served with over half a pound of meat and cheese. There's over 25 subs, sandwiches, and salads to choose from. More food, more taste, more personality. Lenny's, your neighborhood sub shop.
So if Napa also has parts that are really hard to find, how do they find them?
Well, it's pretty interesting. What they do is they take the old part and they show it to Smell this, boys. It's a 1972 Toyota Land Cruiser fuel pump. Now go get me a new one. Give me a new one.
Am I supposed to believe that?
Good boy, Rufus. That's a good boy.
Geico Seminole postgame on Sun Sports is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. By your Southern Chevy dealers. Visit Chevy.com to find out why Chevy Silverado is the 2007 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. And by Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers.
Welcome back to the Geico Seminole postgame. We want to toast our newest partner, Lenny's, for being a part of this year's college football lineup right here on Sun Sports. Whit Watson back with you inside the studio as Florida State toasts a victory over Alabama by a final of 21-14. You heard Bobby Bowden's press conference a moment ago talking about the decision to have Xavier Lee step in at the quarterback position. And Terry, Lee did quite well. Again, for a guy that has not had much playing time this season, comes in, he passes for 223 yards, almost all of that in the second half, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 63%. He was 12 of 19, but looked like he felt like he was supposed to be out there.
It doesn't really matter if it was a savvy coaching move or did they stumble into Xavier Lee, because remember, he was the 4th player to take a snap from the quarterback position in this game. You kind of get the feeling they might have said, we've done nothing, throw Lee in there, but it worked out. He passed the ball well. He had moments of brilliance, and then he had a couple of tough situations. But 10:55 third quarter, a great read. Simple route by Dakota Fagg, one-on-one coverage. First touchdown of the game, Florida State leads 7-0. 7:04 third quarter. The next drive, though, he doesn't see the linebacker, Prince Hall, who steps in front. That could have been a really final punch there late in the third quarter. We go 3rd and 6, FSU on their own 24. Probably the best pass of the game. He picks up the hot read right there. Xavier Lee had some moments of brilliance and also a couple of passes where you say, hey, wait a minute, the guy hasn't played well. But you see only 7 incompletions there, well over 200 yards. Touchdown, that 1 interception, but enough to get his team the win.
And it took him only 19 passing attempts to get to 2 touchdown passes. Sure. Consider that John Parker Wilson needed 53 attempts to get 2 touchdown passes in this game, and both those coming late in the ball game, as a matter of fact. Let's talk about the rushing game. Xavier Lee leads Florida State in rushing on this night. 55 yards on the ground, an average of 4.2 yards per carry. A long of 13, did not score on the ground, but was able to move the ball. And we've talked about mobile quarterbacks all season long, but usually in Tampa with Matt Grothe or in Gainesville with Tim Tebow. Lee now presents a new element along with the rest of the Florida State rushing game. It's a new weapon for the Seminole coaching staff.
Lee also had some what I call dagger runs where Alabama defended the entire play, but the quarterback's unaccounted for, and he made the play. Third quarter here, first FSU drive, 1st and 10, Alabama 15. Lee, 8-yard gain right there on the drive. Next drive, FSU 2nd 13. Lee again, a beautiful bootleg. Sniper gets him right there as he falls down, had many more yards. Fourth quarter, FSU, straight run right there. Reads his block well, makes an inside cut to gain another 7 or 8 yards. Totals 13 on that play. Early fourth quarter, fakes the pass. Again, Alabama defends that well. You don't cover the quarterback there. Big gain, about 10 yards for Xavier Lee. So at times, Alabama very frustrated. They would defense the play, but Lee would create and make something happen.
We do have more interviews coming later from Jacksonville as Florida State beats Alabama tonight. This is the live Geico Seminole postgame show. Keith Jones at the game, as he has been here on Sun Sports for 20 years now. And KJ, let me ask you this. Were you surprised to see Lee come in and respond with as much poise as he did tonight?
Not surprised to see him come in, guys. Was pleasantly surprised to see him play with the poise. We've seen him out on the field, particularly last year. He's not a guy that gets upset or gets too high or gets too low. He's got a great demeanor about him. But this is the first time he's come in and he's executed the offense in such a way that Florida State could leave with a victory. So not surprised that he came in, pleasantly surprised at how he played.
KJ, let me ask you a question. Much has been made over the fact that Drew Weatherford and Xavier Lee are apparently very tight. There were a lot of sideline shots during the broadcast of Weatherford urging Lee on, cheering. He said during the week, all I want to do is win. Let's assume, and we don't know this yet, let's assume that Lee starts next week. How do you think Weatherford would handle it?
Well, first of all, we don't need to assume that Lee will start next week. And I can almost guarantee you that. Not my decision, but Coach Bowden's letting everybody else make it. I'll make it as well. I think Weatherford will respond unbelievably because Weatherford understands when he's in there, he's a twisted ankle away from Lee having to come in and take over the reins. By the same comparison, X is one twisted ankle, one tweaked knee away from Drew having to come back in. You know, guys, in the late 70s, I played with Jimmy Jordan and Wally Woodham, who ended up being Wally Jim Jordan because you didn't know which one was going to play when. Two kids that are focused on the team can come in and compete and make things happen. It's not the way you want to do it because normally you can't find two kids that will be that giving of themselves. But in this particular case, fingers crossed, we may have just that here at Florida State.
Keith, I want to get your comments on what I'm calling the best single play call of the season so far by Jimbo Fisher. Let me take you back. Just under 5 minutes left in the ball game. Alabama scores their first touchdown. It's 14-7. Alabama has all 3 timeouts. FSU gets the kickoff. 1st and 10. Conventional by-the-book football says run 3 plays, force Alabama to use all 3 timeouts, give them the ball on a punt, and defend with maybe a little bit of time left. I thought a wonderful call, knowing Alabama would go probably run blitz, single coverage. Dakota goes 70. Talk about that great call.
2 things about that, guys. First of all, I don't think Jimbo Fisher's read the book. I'm not sure he even knows where it exists. Second of all, remember the series prior to that, they ran the same play and Fag dropped the ball. If he had caught that one, he would have gone. Instead of giving up on him, and a couple of times during the telecast, I'll tell you I did, he came right back to his senior, his leader, his captain that was named the first of the year, came right back to him and was rewarded with a 70-yard touchdown pass. You're right. That's a great call for a couple of reasons. Number one, they're not expecting it. But number two, it had failed the prior time, but Jimbo had enough confidence in X and Dakota to make it happen a second time, and that he was rewarded for it.
Keith Jones in Jacksonville. KJ, thank you very much. We'll come back to Jacksonville throughout this live post-game show. You know, Weatherford, by the way, 126 passing yards against Colorado. He's now 5th all-time on Florida State's passing list. You're talking about a guy that's been around for a long time, but according to KJ, maybe watching from the bench next week. Let's get back to the defense, and what an effort. Derek Nicholson a moment ago with Tom Block at the stadium.
All week we heard about SEC, physical, big offensive line. They can run the ball. That didn't happen tonight. How did you guys stop Alabama's offense until the final minutes of the game, really?
Well, you know something, we play sound.
we play fundamental, we focus, and we play physical. And coming to every football game, and especially this one because they did average 205 yards rushing a game, we wanted to stop the run. We wanted them to make them one-dimensional, make them where they say to themselves, I'm not going to run. We can't run. It's impossible. So we're going to pass the ball. And that's what we made them do. Unfortunately, they got a few yards on us at the end of the game, and we let them get 14 cheap points. But we executed our game plan, and it was in our favor today.
Can you talk about how this was a team effort? Bud Thacker couldn't go. Andre Fluellen played hurt. Nefi Moffitt got hurt. Geno Hayes didn't start. A lot of guys had to step up.
Oh, man. That tells you how much depth and how good our team is as a whole, because you got two of our starters defensive line who didn't start. You have another starter linebacker who couldn't start off because of whatever reason. And so the backups came in and played like first teamers. And when you have that, it's a good thing. You get a guy's experience, and it's really positive when you got people who are second team or maybe backups play like first teamers, and when they can come in and play like that, sky's the limit. That's pretty fun right there.
I know you're not from Alabama. There's only a couple guys on the team who are, and you guys are too young to maybe remember Bear Bryant, that kind of Alabama football. But Bobby Bowden, Mickey Andrews, they have serious ties to Alabama. What does it mean to you players to give Coach Bowden a win in the only time he's ever coached against a team he grew up loving?
Well, it's not just for Coach Bowden or Coach Mickey Andrews. It's for this organization. This is the first time Florida State beat Alabama in 3 tries. So this is the first time we beat them and we won. So we wanted to be the first Florida State team to do that feat, and we did.
Is that as much fun as you've had in a game in a while? I mean, it was pretty emotional on the sidelines.
It was fun. It was fun. One thing we really preached after the Clemson game is have fun. Go out there, play football, do what you got to do, be focused and play discipline, but have fun. And that's what we did. We had fun and we enjoyed ourselves. And when we do that and play like that and get after them like we did, you can have fun. And we have fun, and we're just looking forward to next week when we play out NC State.
All right. Does this final thought from you? This will open some eyes nationally. You beat an SEC school, Alabama, who's played well. Does this say that Florida State is back, or how close are you to being back in your mind?
We got to concentrate. We got to look at it every game, game by game. People who watch this game probably said, okay, they beat Alabama. They're the 22nd ranked team. They whooped them pretty good up front. Now what they're going to do next week after a big win? Because we didn't have big victories. We beat Virginia Tech 2 years ago. We beat Miami last year. But what are they going to do after a big win? Are they going to come out sluggish against NC State, or are they going to come out just as good, firing on all cylinders like they did versus Alabama? And we have to do that week in and week out to be on that national stage where they're back like they're used to playing in the 90s, or they're back playing dominating football. When we do that and when we make it week in and week out, that's when you can say that.
All right, well, we'll see you next week. Enjoy this one tonight.
All right, I will.
All right, Derek Nicholson and the Noles pick up the big win over Alabama, guys.
Well, Derek knows his history. This was the 4th meeting between these two teams and the first time that Florida State has beaten Alabama. First meeting since 1974 in the regular season. If you missed it, come on back and catch it Sunday on Primetime Noles. Alabama against Florida State with Paul Kennedy, Keith Jones, and Tom Block. 20 years and counting. Primetime Noles, Sundays on Sun Sports. We'll take a break on the Geico Seminole postgame. Come back with more of Tom's interviews from the Seminole locker room. 21-14. Bobby Bowden now 8-1 in Jacksonville as Florida State's head coach.
There are a lot of great things to do in Florida. And Columbia Sportswear has the right clothes for every adventure. Columbia Sportswear. Available at Bell's.
What can I say? It's in my blood. Racing, the STP, it really gets me going.
Because Marathon gasoline with STP provides extra cleaning power and helps maintain fuel economy?
That's right. I see all Marathon gas now contains STP additives.
My customers really appreciate it.
Yeah, STP's always been a winner. See y'all.
Remember, pit road speed, Marathon.
How will your family be financially protected if something suddenly happened to you? Garden State Life Insurance makes this promise. Right now, you can get up to $150,000 of affordable coverage without a medical exam and no waiting period. Garden State Life has kept this promise of protecting families for over 50 years. Call now for your free informational promise package, including a free quote. Call 800-720-8866. 800-720-8866.
At Esposito's, our 25% off September Christmas sale has finally started. If you're looking for ornaments for that Christmas tree, now's the time to stop in and check them out. During September, you can save 25% off of ornaments for baby's first Christmas, as well as dozens of styles of nutcrackers. If you're looking for something for a beach house, why not check out these fish ornaments, 25% off. And for the first time ever during our September Christmas sale, you can save 25% on all these dozens of styles of cloisonne.
Geico Seminole Postgame on Sun Sports is brought to you by Lenny's Sub Shops. With over a half pound of meat and cheese on the regular Philly sub. Stop in today.
You know when it'll be emotional is when I go home this summer up to Birmingham and we go out to Roebuck and we tee that thing up on the first tee box and I can say, we whipped y'all.
Welcome back to the Geico Seminole postgame. Whit Watson with you live on a Saturday night. Greg Carr and Dakota Fagg, two of the prime targets for Xavier Lee in this ball game. Talked to Tom Block in Jacksonville.
Obviously, I wouldn't be a good matchup as a DB. They've got me outflanked here big time. Dakota, let's start with you. When Alabama comes back and scores, you guys run that little out pattern. Tell me about that play and just describe it as it unfolded.
First of all, I just had to make sure I catch the ball. I know I had a lot of struggles catching the ball at the beginning, first half, so I just wanted to catch the ball and stay in bounds, make the clock run. And once I caught the ball, turned around, I saw the whole sideline, I just hit it. And when I looked up in the big jumbo screen, I wasn't going to let him catch me.
Talk a little bit, let me bring Greg into the conversation. Greg, you made a big catch at the start of the second half. The offense really came out on fire. I mean, it had been a dogfight, back and forth. Nobody's moving the ball. Third quarter, you guys go right down the field. Explain what happened on that drive.
Coming out of the second half, Coach just told us, all right, the game was 0-0, and at the same time, we had to come out here and establish some kind of big play momentum for the offense. So we tried to come out there, and we knew, and we came out and made big plays on our first drive. That would set the momentum for the rest of the second half. So we tried to go out there and do that and make big plays whenever our opportunities came.
Did you guys know that there might be a quarterback change, and can you talk about what Xavier added and how he performed today? His first action this year.
We didn't know, but with Coach Fisher, there's no telling what he might do. So we had to be prepared for whoever get in there, whether it was Devontae, Drew, or Xavier. We were behind them 100%. It's our job to help those guys out, and that's what we did. Xavier came in, he did real good. He kept his composure, and once we saw him getting off like the third quarter, we knew it was on. We knew it was on. He kept his composure and just kept the team going, and that's what we needed.
Greg, what does this victory mean to the team from 2 points? One, the offense showed signs of life, and two, although he passed away before you guys were born, Bear Bryant, was Bobby Bowden's idol, and this was a significant win for him. So what does it mean to the players?
It means a lot because, I mean, we've been working hard all week, and like you say, we as an offense, we hear all week, well, Florida State offense may not be as good, and Florida State offense this, Florida State offense that. So when we hear that, we just go out there and continue to work hard, and that's what we kept in the back of our minds. And we just, every time we go out there and touch that field, we go out there and fight for Coach because, I mean, we know he gives us all for us. So it was real big, and it just felt good to go out there and get the win for Coach and at the same time execute as an offense.
And finally, for you personally, Dakota, it's been a tough start to your senior year with some drop balls, a fumble. I know you're counted on as a captain and a leader of this team. How tough has it been for you?
It's been real tough, but having good teammates is what it's all about. They always come up to me and talk to me. I'm gonna have my big game, and today was my big game. They stuck behind me 100%, even though I had a lot of drops. When I drop the ball, they step up and catch it, and that's all that matters. So you just got to start off from now on out, concentrating more on the ball and just stepping up big like I did tonight, and the team behind me 100%.
All right, guys, congratulations on the victory.
Thank you, Dad.
All right, as I mentioned, that wouldn't be a good matchup there. Greg Carr and Dakota Fagg, who played a big role in tonight's win over Alabama. Guys.
All right, Tom, thanks very much. We'll take a look at the numbers. Carr goes for 107 yards receiving. Fagg goes for 95 and 2 touchdowns, both passing touchdowns, both from the arm of Xavier Lee in this ball game. Preston Parker, 35 yards in the air, an average of 8.8 yards per carry. Greg Carr is a guy who's been one of the focuses of this offense for the last couple of seasons, but there's been a transition now from the jump ball of years past to trying to make Carr into more of a playmaker, into a guy that can make players miss. Jimbo Fisher showed a lot of confidence in Carr by using him on that final play that Keith Jones talked about earlier. And Carr could end up being a guy that could be a difference maker throughout the rest of the season.
What I liked, I saw some chemistry develop between Greg Carr and Xavier Lee, Dakota Fagg and Xavier Lee. But Carr had a real good game. Third quarter, early in the third quarter, 1st and 10. Lee looks downfield, finds Greg Carr, 32-yard gain. Florida State would go on to score their first touchdown of the ball game. Later in the third quarter, at about the 8:46 mark, here's a big play, great throw, on time, 58-yard gain, tremendous catch on a streak route by Carr. He rumbles for an additional 20 yards. But what I really liked, I saw some chemistry. You haven't seen really chemistry between any FSU quarterback and a receiver or two in the last several years. You saw some stuff there with Fagg and Carr and Lee. They really felt and seemed to be on the same page.
You know, in fairness, Alabama, a very average offense, 36th in the country. Defensively, though, Florida State was staunch. Offensively, now you're seeing some signs of life. Jimbo Fisher, the offensive coordinator, with Tom.
Jimbo, that was just your run-of-the-mill, let's put 4 guys behind center and see what happens kind of game today.
Just kind of move it around, do what we got to do. I mean, we trying to find ways to move the ball and do what we have to do to win the game. And our young men really responded with a lot of effort, a lot of tenacity, and a lot of toughness and resilience. And I think today, hopefully, we took some steps into being a football team and loving and believing and trusting one another.
Talk about the decision to go to Xavier and then stay with Xavier. Obviously, he has a different dimension offensively.
Oh, he does. And, you know, it had nothing. I didn't think Drew played poorly in the game. I really didn't. I mean, he didn't do any mistakes. I mean, I just thought offensively we'd get a first down. We couldn't get things going for a while. And it just, Alabama was stuffing us in our normal run. And the way we could get the extra guy, a blocker in the box so we could run the quarterback with a blocker. You know, we tried to do it with Devo early in the game. We did it with Preston, you know, but put him back there. And then when they didn't know, when you put Xavier, who's experienced in the passing game, you know, I thought we had to do it to be able to run it and then maybe change their coverage to be able to get some better throws outside. And he brought that dimension and did a great job.
Talk about the call when Alabama cut it to 14-7. You know, if you're going to stack the box, the out patterns are there. You threw it out and it finished the game more or less.
Exactly right. And I know, Coach, great job, buddy. I mean,
Jimbo Fisher congratulating his old boss and Nick Saban. He just said congratulations to Coach Saban there. Finish the thought about your victory against one of your mentors.
Yes, he is. I mean, that guy right there is one heck of a football coach and done a lot to me and is a great guy and is a class guy, and I think the world of him and taught me a lot. But we knew in that situation that he would I knew he would pressure us. He would try to make us do that low percentage thing. That's what good coaches do. And I told Zay, we'll have to take some chances here, and I still got to put it in your hands to be able to do it. And he came through, and Dakota came through, and our line did a great job picking it up.
The quarterbacks going forward, do you reevaluate? Do you get in a situation? I mean, your old school LSU is playing 2 guys on a regular basis. How do you think you address that going forward?
We'll continue to do what we have to do to win football games. And we'll try to evaluate tomorrow and see where things are and make decisions based on what's best for our football team.
All right, it's good to see a smile on your face. This was a good one for you guys tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right, Jimbo Fisher and the Noles have the offense maybe have a defining moment tonight as they get the win, guys.
Well, Tom, certainly the rest of the season will tell, but if Florida State extends this success, obviously you will point to the Alabama game as absolutely. The night that the light went on for a number of guys on the Florida State offense. And let's give Terry some credit. Jimbo Fisher pretty much confirmed your theory there. Yeah. They put Xavier Lee in to get a couple of first downs. The normal running game wasn't working. If the quarterback runs, you've got one more blocker available now. And what happened? Well, the offense started to work. So you might as well leave him in there. And what do you know? You get a win out of it. And in the first quarter, you saw some of these wrinkles coming from Florida State offensively.
Yeah, several wrinkles, meaning FSU was desperate for offense. They tried several things. Some things worked. Some things did not work. Devontae Richardson got in, quarterback draw, shotgun. That did not work. Short gain. That was his only carry and only play. First quarter here, a little reverse to Greg Carr. I don't like Greg Carr coming around as a lumbering reverse guy, but a 4-yard gain Direct snap to Preston Parker. This wrinkle did work, but Whit, you mentioned the fact that Richardson was in there to run from the quarterback position. He got the first crack, which tells me if Lee was the guy you were going to try and run, you would have ran him right there.
Yeah.
He didn't get into the game until late in the second quarter. I think that they were desperate and found Lee, and it paid off.
Yeah, Richardson had 1 carry for -1 yard, so obviously that wasn't working.
Yeah.
Go to the next guy. The next guy's Xavier Lee, and what do you know? Xavier Lee comes through for Florida State. We will take a break here on the Geico Seminole postgame. We will hear from Xavier Lee coming up in just a moment. Don't forget, Monday night after the live Tailgate Overtime show at 7 o'clock, starting at around 8 o'clock on sunsportstv.com. You can catch the live after party online at the website. I'll be chatting this week. It's my turn, after all. Click on the Tailgate Overtime link on sunsportstv.com Monday at the end of Tailgate Overtime and join the live chat, the after party. Taking a break here on your Chevy Tailgate Weekend and the Geico Seminole postgame show. Florida State 21, Alabama 14. We'll talk to number 1, Xavier Lee, when we come back on Sun Sports.
Are you serious?
Just give it a try. Role play.
What's your name? He doesn't say anything because he's a doll.
Geico.com. So easy. A caveman can do it.
Let me show you the grid.
Turn it on. All right, so please.
Clearing up in the internet, man.
The 55! Hey, isn't that Sammy Hagar? Yeah, it is. He's singing about the number 55 Napa car. Yep, that's awesome. But isn't it a little loud? You know, you're right. Hey, Sammy, could you turn the amp down a little lower?
Sure, you think you could drive a little faster?
He was like that on Mondays.
At Bill's Bookstore, we've got the best brands for every Seminole fan.
Bill's Bookstore, not just any old bookstore.
Order online anytime at billsbookstore.com or for a free catalog, call 800-476-1FSU.
Bill's Bookstore.
They're back. Halloween milkshakes from Steak and Shake. Caramel apple, dark chocolate double fudge, and introducing popping candy. It actually pops in your mouth. Don't drink one alone.
Steak and Shake with Halloween milkshakes.
We continue with our Chevy Tailgate Weekend on Fridays with Rec Warehouse College Kickoff. Join us next Friday, October 5th, as we get set for Florida and LSU. Plus, Butch Davis of North Carolina facing off against his old team, the Miami Hurricanes. And your chance to enter the Ultimate Game Room Sweepstakes. Go to sunsportstv.com for complete listings and join me, Terry, and Brady Ackerman, plus Todd Wright for Rec Warehouse College Kickoff Fridays at 7 on Sun Sports. Our live post-game coverage continues. Xavier Lee gets the call and answers the bell for Florida State against Alabama. 21-14 win for Lee and company. Tom Block now with the winning quarterback.
Xavier, it's been a while since you've been out there in a live game. How did it feel?
It felt great. I mean, the team, we were playing well as a team. The offensive line was blocking, we had the receivers were catching the balls. I mean, it just felt like practice, and I think we stepped up to the plate and just had fun with the game.
Did you have a sense, did you know that maybe Jimbo was going to go to you at some point in this game?
No, I didn't have a sense, but I just knew I practiced hard, and I know, Coach seen that, I was working hard, and he might give me a chance, but I just wasn't sure at all when it was going to come.
When you got in the game in the second quarter, you made some things happen, but it was the start of the third quarter where the offense really just marched down the field. What happened at halftime? What adjustments did you make? Because that turned what had been an even game to an uneven game.
Coach just told us, just go out there and have fun. I mean, the only person that we're beating is ourselves. And I think we just cut out all the penalties and the mistakes. We started moving the ball, and we did. I mean, the offensive line was blocking well to stop the hole, and the receivers were catching balls and making spectacular plays. I mean, there's nothing more you can ask for as a team besides just build from this and move on.
Did you get a sense that some weight came off of Dakota Fags back tonight? I mean, he obviously has had a tough start this year, but he was a hero tonight.
Yeah, he was a hero tonight. I mean, he made a lot of good plays, and I'm happy for him. You know, he had a couple of drops, and he's been down on himself, but this is a game that he can look back on and just build from.
What does this mean to the team that you're a part of the team that enabled Coach Bowden to beat the squad that he grew up following and loving? I mean, it's the only time he's ever coached against them. It was his favorite team, and he beat them.
I mean, it feels good. I'm glad we can, get a win. I'm glad we can, help out Bobby in any way we can because he does so much for this school and university and this football team. I'm glad we can give back in some way.
What does the game mean to the offense that you guys, people talk Florida State doesn't have playmakers. Well, tonight you showed you do have playmakers, just a matter of getting everybody on the same page.
Yeah, it just a matter of getting on the same page. We just believing in ourselves, and no one can stop us but ourselves, and we just have to move on and just keep making plays and have fun with the game.
How tough has this last year been for you personally? The struggles last year offensively, you got a couple starts, then a change in offensive coordinators. There's been talk that you were going to transfer. I don't know how close you were. Can you just kind of sum up how tough the last year's been?
It's been tough, mentally. I just, try to keep a good heart about things, just try to stay positive, look at the good side, just kept telling myself and praying about, my time is going to come. Just a matter of when, and am I ready when it comes.
When it came down or up 14-7, you guys get the ball back. What did it mean to you that Coach Fisher had the confidence in you to say, you know what, we're not running the ball here, we're throwing an out pattern, and that really finished the game?
Yeah, it felt good. Right before we went out there, Coach said, I believe in you. I'm trusting you to go out there and make a play and don't turn the ball over and just be careful with the ball. I did. I'm quite sure that, he builds more confidence in myself. So.
All right, well, congratulations on the win. I'm sure you don't know what the situation will be next week, but maybe we'll see you then.
I hope so. Just hope we keep winning and move on from here.
All right, thank you. Xavier Lee, who gets a chance for the first time this year to play football and pays dividends as Florida State gets the win, guys.
Tom, thank you very much. We'll take a look at the numbers for Weatherford and Lee, and you can see them there head-to-head. Both did play. Weatherford had 11 pass attempts. Now, let's go back over the timeline once again. In the post-game press conference, Bobby Bowden said, I'm going to let Jimbo Fisher make that call. Jimbo Fisher said, we're going to do whatever it takes to win football games. Looking ahead to next week, if you're NC State, are you going to get ready for two quarterbacks, or are you getting ready for Xavier Lee as the starter next week?
A little bit of two quarterbacks, but Xavier Lee has to get the start. He was the quarterback of record in this ball game, the quarterback that directed 21 points. What you did not see on that stat, keep in mind, in the first quarter, with the wind, and the wind played a big factor in this ball game today and tonight in Jacksonville. Florida State had the wind in the first quarter. They had possession at the plus 47, the 43, the plus 36, plus meaning Alabama's side of the ball, and their own 45. Those are great starting positions with the wind. Drew Weatherford had all those possessions, 0 points.
Chevy by the numbers, the final stats on the ball game for Alabama and Florida State. There you see it. First downs, Bama has the edge. Neither team able to run the ball terribly effectively. Florida State does outpass Alabama. Not many turnovers. It was a fairly clean game. One turnover and not a lot of penalties either. A lot of flags for Florida State, but not a lot of penalty yardage. There's some minor infractions coming, so a fairly clean game. Two defenses knocking each other in the mouth in the first half, and then things did open up a little bit in the second. The most important number is the W, as Florida State wins it 21-14 over 24th ranked Alabama. We'll come back, get some final thoughts from Jacksonville from Keith and Paul and Tom. Florida State 21, Alabama 14. The Geico Seminole postgame show continues on Sun Sports.
It's the Chevy model year-end event, and we've just extended the best offer ever on the all-new Silverado Crew Cab. 0% APR for 60 months on Silverado half-ton crew cabs for well-qualified buyers. Just click and go to Chevy.com to find the one you want, then get to your Chevy dealer. That's right, we've just extended 0% APR for 60 months on Silverado Crew Cab.
Click on Chevy.com. Then see your southern... Join Goodwood Museum and Gardens for dinner and dancing at An Evening Under the Oaks on Thursday, October 25th, celebrating Goodwood's legendary hospitality. This night of Twinkling Stars features music by Crooked Shoes and traditional Southern cuisine. Your $85 ticket includes dinner and a full open bar. Bid on silent auctions or buy one of only 500 raffle tickets for a trip to New York City in December. Raffle tickets can be purchased in advance. Event seating is limited, so call today to reserve your ticket for this delightful evening of fun. See you there.
Happiness for a Christmas fanatic is Esposito's September sale, where virtually everything in our Christmas department is 25% off. This year, Hurtis has outdone himself with over a dozen styles of these fabulous designer trees. Now, a designer tree is more than just ornaments. The special items like the treetop or angels, the silk flowers and such they're 25% off as well. So if you're considering doing a designer tree, now's the time to make that purchase. Everything we have is 25% off.
Got some bagels.
You don't have to throw every big catch back into the water. Just into the washing machine every now and then. Right now, get the classic look of Guy Harvey tees at Bell's. Don't let this one get away. Live the Florida lifestyle. Bell's.
Geico Seminole Postgame on Sun Sports has been brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by your Southern Chevy dealers. Visit Chevy.com to find out why Chevy Silverado is the 2007 Motor Trend Truck of the Year.
Welcome back. Our coverage continues on the Geico Seminole postgame. Whit Watson alongside Terry Norvell as the Chevy Tailgate weekend continues with a win for Florida State over Alabama. Final score of 21-14. Couple of minutes left for us. Let's turn things back to Jacksonville for final thoughts from Paul Kennedy and Keith Jones. Paul?
What about the last two guys here, Whit? Sentimentality for Bobby Bowden at the dais when he said, "You can't imagine what that school meant to me when I was growing up." And I go back to 1986, and they told him he was too old to be the head coach at Alabama, and he finally wins here tonight. You go back, why didn't they hire Alabama when they had the opportunity over 20 years ago? This win meant the world to him.
I really think it did, and I think that the kids will begin to understand it, maybe not even in their careers, but 5 or 10 or 15 years down the road. And I think X said it best in that, you know, while they may not understand everything, with everything that Coach Bowden does, they were glad to get the win for him.
Means the world to you, too?
No question. No question.
He once sat in Bear Bryant's office. The Bear tried to get him to come to Alabama. He went and played for Bobby Bowden. Looks like he made the right choice. And who would have thought it would be Xavier Lee, guys, that finally beats Alabama for Bobby Bowden.
All right, Paul and Keith, we'll let you get on home and out of the stadium tonight. Thank you very much for the extra duty on the post-game show. And indeed, hard to imagine that Alabama told Bobby Bowden all those years ago that he was too old to be their head coach. And 20-something years later, he's still a head coach at Florida State, 2 national championships later. Let's take a look ahead now for Florida State. North Carolina State next week at home. Then you got the very short week, a Thursday night game on October 11th at Wake Forest. Then you come back after about a 10-day layoff from Miami at home, and then Duke at home. So really the next 3, despite their performance tonight, it's not a layup for the next 3 weeks.
No, not at all. NC State, you look and go, okay, there's a win. They're struggling. Well, keep in mind, NC State won 3 football games last year. 1 was over Florida State, and NC State has won 4 of the last 5 meetings with the Seminoles. Wake Forest, you go to Wake Forest, that's a team that shut you out at home. They are a good football team. You've got the situation there with Miami. I mean, Miami's coming off 2 straight losses to the Noles. They're going to want that game bad. So, no, great win right now, but the test of a coaching staff, get the win behind you and start looking to the next ball game.
And that's what Florida State will do as they get their first win against Alabama in 4 tries in their first regular season meeting with Alabama since 1974. Thank you for joining us here on the Geico Seminole postgame show live on Sun Sports, part of your Chevy Tailgate weekend. For Terry Norvell, I'm Whit Watson. Don't forget, Tailgate Overtime comes Monday night at 7 o'clock. Plenty of wrap-up and discussion about the entire weekend's games. And Rec Warehouse College Kickoff is back next Friday at 7 to kick off another Chevy Tailgate weekend. Your final score, 21-14, Florida State. The Seminoles are 3-1. Alabama drops to 3-2. On behalf of our entire crew, I'm Whit Watson. We'll see you next week on Sun Sports.
Nobody said this was going to be easy.
Now see, if Geico.com had taken that approach, instead of telling everyone it's so easy a caveman can...
The end zone. Plus, Padres looking to clinch, Phillies on the verge, and the Mets almost make franchise history.
Hey there, yeah.
Yeah, you said it. Welcome to the broadcast live from the ESPN Digital Center. It's Sports Center. Steve Berthume, John Butchergross along the way. In a moment, we will set up the final day of baseball's regular season tomorrow. It should be amazing. But first, speaking of amazing.
Yeah, Auburn, Florida. Florida has won 8 of the last 10, but it was Auburn who gave Florida their only loss last season. Florida brings an 11-game win streak into the contest. Auburn looks to avoid its first 0-2 conference start since 1980. Ben Tate, handoff, and 14-0 Auburn. Third quarter, Tate through the line, but Major Wright comes in with the big hit. Ball loose, Gator football, ensuing possession. Now it's the fourth quarter, Auburn's 6-yard line. Tebow, Cornelius Ingram, 17-10. Here come the Gators. Still in the fourth, looking for the tying score. Tebow. It's a beautifully thrown ball here. Percy Harvin did get that foot down before going out of bounds. Later, Tebow with 2 blockers in front of him plows his way into the end zone. 17-17. Here comes Auburn. A long drive capped off by Wes Byram. It's good. Wait a minute. The old coach calls a timeout from the sideline just before the ball is snap moved. Now doesn't count. So Byram will try again from 43. Good. And Auburn, winner, chicken dinner at Florida. Final score 20-17 as seen on ESPN. And with the call, Mike Patrick and Todd Blackledge. And we go back to them for more. Fellas.
What else could you say? I mean, it was a great ball game. Auburn, a huge underdog, but they believed in themselves. You got to give them the credit because they talked about it all week long that if they avoided the stuff that had hurt them in the 2 losses, they had a chance to come in here and compete, and they weren't funning us either.
Well, and I think you saw some pride also in a program that had won 12 out of 13 games on the road in the SEC. They won 8 out of 9 against top 10 teams, and a senior quarterback who struggled early in the season, played well off the bench last week, played outstanding tonight on the road. Brandon Cox, I mean, you love this for a guy like Brandon Cox who has struggled in his senior year a little bit to come in here and play the way he did and to lead his team was fun to watch.
And how about the freshman kicker? You come in here, hostile territory, 88,000 people screaming their brains out. You make a winning kick, but not so fast. You didn't make the winning kick. Right. You got to kick it again.
Yeah, Urban Meyer perfectly timed that timeout. Byram just stayed about his business, knocked it through again. And, I'll tell you what, we've had 3 SEC games in a row. They've all been unbelievable down to the final seconds. And this one was maybe the best of all.
Just another lousy night in the Southeastern Conference. It was a tremendous effort by Auburn as they knock off number 4 Florida. Back to the studio, fellas.
Thanks so much, Mike and Todd. Florida is now 17-2 over the last 2 seasons. Both losses coming against Auburn. The Tigers held the Gators to 17 points in each of those wins, while Florida averaged over 35 points per game against everyone else.
A remarkable day in the Big 12 today. We started with number 3, Oklahoma, scoring nearly 61 points per game, but stuck in a tough Big 12 opener at Folsom Field in Colorado. Third quarter, here's Alan Patrick. There we go. 17 of his 96 yards, and all going according to script here. It's 24-7 Sooners, but hold on. Fourth quarter, Colorado down 14, 4th and goal. Cody Hawkins, Tyson DeVray busts down 24-17. Hawkins threw for 219 and 2 scores. Colorado attempting a 36-yard field goal to get within 4, but Kevin Eberhardt wide left, and Hawkins, you're still down 7. It's Division I football! Colorado's punt right through Reggie Smith's hands. The Buffalo's going to set up shop inside the Oklahoma 20. You can't have mistakes like that backed up against your own goal line. Late 4th on the road. 4 plays later, Hawkins, Dusty Sprague. We're tied at 24 with 4:05 to go. Sooners stuck with a 3 and out. Got a punt again. Chase McBride back there for the Buffs, and look at Chase McBride matriculate his way up the field. Almost. Gets it to the 50 and sets up this. 2 seconds left. Eberhardt from 45. This for the win. It would be his career long. 2 ticks to go. Tie game. This is it. Drills it. Buffalo's first win over a top 5 team since 2001, and it is the signature win so far for Dan Hawkins after last year's 2-10 season.
Well, Texas can't get caught looking past Kansas State with the Red River rivalry looming next week against Oklahoma. They should have added incentive after getting upset by Kansas State a year ago. Colt McCoy under pressure picked off. Career-high 4 interceptions thrown by McCoy. Ian Campbell the other way for the score. Kansas State up 14-7. Ensuing Texas possession. McCoy comes right back. He redeems himself. Good scrambling here. Good feet. Finds Quan Cosby. Touchdown. Game tied at 14. Ensuing kickoff. Back and forth we go. James Johnson. Johnson, 85-yard kickoff return. 20-point loss by the Longhorns, the worst home loss in the 10-year Mac Brown era. Haven't lost that bad in Austin since a 66-3 loss against UCLA back in 1997. So the Big 12 gets way more interesting as both Texas and Oklahoma lose today. The last time both lost on the same day, October 2nd, 1999, which was also a week before the Red River Classic. The Horns and Sooners will meet again next week. We have many more upsets to go on a crazy Saturday in college football in this sports center.
Now to the baseball. John Maine on the mound for the Mets facing the Marlins. New York, a game back of the Fightin' Phils in the NL East with 2 to play. They had to have this one. Bottom 3 last innings. Millage, was 3 for 5 with 2 home runs. Everybody clap your hands. It's 7-0 New York. Down 8-0 in the 4th. It's Hanley Ramirez. Maine plunk. That had hurt. Another look, Ramirez right on the left hand. It's called a foul ball. Next pitch, of course, a hit on the hand. It affects his grip. Loses the bat. He'd have to eventually leave the game. Maine with a no-hitter through 4. Trying to help the Mets back into a tie with the Phils atop the division. Remember, Mets have never had a no-hitter in their history. Bottom 5, Mets up 9-0. Some retaliation, perhaps. Harvey Garcia throws behind Luis Castillo twice, so now everybody's really on edge. C.B. Buckner, the home plate ump. Warnings issued, benches clear, but that would pretty much be it, at least to that point. Jose Reyes and Matt Lindstrom, they're just joking around. And then with Reyes on third during a Marlins pitching change, Miguel Olivo gets into it with Reyes and says, somebody says, hey, you want to fight? One of them said it. They both said the other said it, but they did have a fight. Olivo runs over there. Sandy Alomar has to step in, throws a punch. Bench is clear again. Reyes said he thought Olivo was joking when Olivo challenged him to a fight. Olivo was ejected. Reyes did stay in the game. Olivo says it was Reyes who suggested they fight. Not him, but Reyes had another version.
When I was in third base, he told me, because I look in the hand, he told me, I'm gonna throw the ball to third base and I'm gonna hit you. So I think he's kidding with me, you know, because I know him for a little bit, you know, and we always talk, you know. And after that, when he went to the mouth, you know, he said, you wanna fight? And I said, yes, let's fight.
So Olivo leaves. Reyes gets to stay. Make a note of that. Top 7, Maine is yet to allow a hit. Here's Robert Andino.
To leave the game.
David Wright at third, off his leg, right to Reyes, and they get him. One more look, off of Wright's left knee and straight to Jose Reyes. The no-hitter still intact. Next up, it's Jeremy Hermida. Had the big home run earlier in this series. 13th strikeout of the game for John Maine. Next up, Alfredo Amezaga. Wright ends the inning. Maine will take his no-no into the 8th inning. Remember again, the Mets have never had a no-hitter in their history. Ever. Top 8, Mike Jacobs becomes the 14th strikeout victim of John Maine. Next up, Jason Wood. And the way Met Nation has been suffering through the last week or so, you can't believe the way they were jacked up for a potential no-no here. Carlos Gomez is there. Maine 4 outs away. Next up, it's the guy who came in for Olivo when he was ejected, Paul Hoover. Right at third. He's got nothing.
No chance.
Base hit. Wright has no play. One more look. You'll see Hoover break up Maine's no-hitter. You can't fault Wright. Nothing he could do there. Maine allowed just 1 hit in 7 2/3. They were not going to get him. His 14 strikeouts, the most by a Mets pitcher in 8 years. Mets get one they had to have. 13-0. Here's the Maine man.
kind of do or die for us, and you got to treat it that way. And so, we came out, we did what we had to do today, and we'll see what Philly's got to do.
We did what we needed to do. We got our confidence back for going into the last game of the season, and possibly a playoff, and just went out there and put a team away finally.
You go from not being able to get anybody out to not being able to score runs one day, and then the next day you guys almost throw a no-hitter. We got 15, 16 hits. So I feel good about our chances.
It doesn't really matter what the Mets do as far as the Phillies are concerned. If the Phillies win their final 2 games, they win the NL East for the first time since '93. That's the last time they've been in the postseason, the John Kruk Mullet era. Top of the first, Ryan Zimmerman. You saw Adam Eaton. Big start for him, his biggest as a Philly, and didn't quite have it. Burrow has some issues. Ronnie Belliard comes around to score, so just like that, the Nats score first. 1-0 to the third. Matt Chico pitched really well for the Nats today, and here he picks off Jimmy Rollins, who didn't really have a very strong game for the Phillies. To the 7th. It's now a 2-0 game. J.C. Romero and Ryan Howard's a great hitter, but he's an awful first baseman. 12th error of the year.
Can't handle it.
Another run scores. Phillies defense starts to let them down. Look, he thought he had the ball there, had a force out. He gets nothing. Nothing. Nationals now up 3-0 again. Defensive issues here. Oh boy. Another runner will score.
Throws it into center.
And the Phillies are falling apart as their first day in a long time in first place all by themselves. Again, Rollins, his last 2 at-bats with some runners on. He swung at the first pitch. Here in the bottom of the 7th with 2 on and 2 outs. Again, first pitch, and he is out. Ryan Howard makes up for the error by hitting a solo shot in the bottom of the 8th. It's now a 2-run game. But from there, it seemed like the Phillies were swinging from their heels on every at-bat, trying to tie the game with home runs. It doesn't happen. Cordero saves the day. And after 161 games, nothing decided in the NL East. 88-73. There's the situation. 2 veteran, archaic left-handed pitchers on the hill.
They're crafty. They're lefty.
Jamie Moyer for the Phillies, Tom Glavine for the Mets. If you want a guy on the hill, I think both teams, considering all the stress and nerves, would maybe pick those 2 even keel guys. Sal Palantonio on the Phillies, missed opportunity.
After a sloppy performance in the field and a lethargic effort at the plate, the Phillies confronted another brutal reality in a season full of hope and disappointment. They have one more game to prove that they can win when it counts.
The way the season's going, we've had many ups and we've had many downs. We've had some injuries, we've battled. Maybe this is the way it's supposed to happen.
It's another game. You try not to add any extra pressure, and I know that there's a lot of outside sources that like to try to add a little extra pressure or whatnot, but the way this team has battled through this entire season and have it come down to the final day, for me it's fun.
Charlie Manuel thought about walking into the clubhouse and delivering a rare pep talk, but he said he heard the players say, "We'll get him tomorrow, we'll get him tomorrow." So he turned right around, walked out, and didn't have to say a word. In Philadelphia, Sal Palantonio, ESPN.
Sports Center back in 60 seconds. Number 6 Cal at Oregon Ducks, fumbling away the game in the end zone, no less. Plus, which NL contender clinched a playoff spot tonight? Find out. Sports Center back in exactly 1 minute.
If you want it, here it is. Come and get it. Make your mind up fast. If you want it, here it is. Come and get it.
The clock is ticking at the Buick, Pontiac, and GMC Time to Buy sale. For 7 short days, get great deals on many 07 Buick, Pontiac, and GMC models, like $2,500 cash back on the 6-cylinder G6. Hurry, on October 1st, time's up. See your Buick, Pontiac, and GMC dealer.
Watch out, Fridays. I'm not here for just a meal. I want something with one or more of the following adjectives: fire grilled, marinated, glazed. 3 courses totally up to me for just $12.99. Friday's 3-course menu is back. Give me more Fridays.
Sports Center, brought to you by Pontiac. 9 performance machines, all designed for action.
USC Washington, the Seattle stop has been a dangerous one over the years for the Trojans. Just 17, 16, and 4 in the Emerald City. Washington wearing their throwback jerseys from the 1960 in this game, honoring their Rose Bowl team from 1960. Jake Locker and the Huskies. Locker scrambling. Look out. Wow. Sharice Wright. That's wrong. Personal foul, clearly out of bounds. Meanwhile, John David Booty, Heisman hopeful. 9 TD passes in 3 games this season. Play action. Patrick Turner, beautifully thrown ball. We are tied at 7. Later in the second, 2:19 to go. Trojans by 7, 3rd and 5. Booty, pass is tipped, picked off by Mesfin Forrester. And he's going to go all the way, 1960 style. Ties the game at 14. USC does come back to kick a field goal. They lead 17-14 at the half. Third quarter, Trojans are down on the road. Booty call. It's Fred Davis. Nice snatch there of that high heater. First and goal at the 2. Second and goal, Chauncey Washington scores. The Huskies have just scored, kicked the extra point. They'll now try an onside kick with 33 seconds to go. Matchup of the day, Cal, Oregon. Both teams thinking Pac-10 championship and dethroning USC from top of the conference. But first, they need to get by this one. Oregon has won 7 straight home games against Cal. Nathan Longshore, Deshaun Jackson. What a slow start. No receiving touchdowns coming in. There's one. What a day today. 11 catches, 161 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Dennis Dixon passing and picked off by Anthony Felder. First interception thrown by Dixon this year. He would throw 2 in this game. Ensuing Cal drive. Second down, Oregon 14. Justin Forsett, hard run. He will get down and to the 1-yard line. Just short. Next play. Making Cal fans forget about Marshawn Lynch. 101 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. 31-24 Cal. Under 2 to go. Second down, Oregon, their own 34. Dixon, swing pass. Jeremiah Johnson. As Oregon tries to drive for the tying score. Down by 7 with just over a minute to go. Check out this run. That's a major skip. Out of bounds at the Cal 40. Under a minute left. Second down in the Cal 34. Cameron Colvin, he has it. Here comes Oregon. 39 seconds ago. Again, down by 7. Trying to score, kick the extra point to maybe send this game to overtime. And here's the play of the game. Dixon to Colvin. Tackled. Ball is loose. Did he fumble it into the end zone for a touchback? Yes, he did. Watch it again. It's a good call. Ball comes loose and goes inside the pylon. Had it gone outside the pylon, the ball would have been on the 1-foot line. See, before the goal line, then inside the pylon, that's a touchback. Call stands, and Cal wins 31-24, the highest team Cal has beaten on the road since they beat number 10 Indiana in 1969. What about that, Mark May?
The Cal-Oregon game ended exactly as we thought it would. An offensive explosion by both teams, but it didn't start off that way. It was only a 10-3 lead at halftime for Oregon. But in the second half for Cal, the stars came out. Wide receiver Deshaun Jackson had 2 touchdowns in the second half, along with running back Justin Forsett. The bottom line is, Cal did not turn the ball over in a football game. Oregon had 4 turnovers. That's why Cal won. But is Cal an elite team? We'll find out in the next month and a half. In the month of October, they've got back-to-back trips to UCLA and Arizona State. And oh, by the way, they still have to play USC at home.
As we mentioned, Washington just scored. They're down by 3. They need an onside kick and then a field goal to tie. Touchdown to win. USC takes care of business. They recover the onside kick, and the game is over. The Trojans go to 4-0.
We had a couple of win and you're in scenarios for some NL West teams today. First the Diamondbacks and then the Padres. Arizona, which clinched a postseason spot Friday night, would assure itself of the division title with a win over the Rockies today or a Padres loss. San Diego, which eliminated the Brewers last night, would clinch the NL wildcard with another win in Milwaukee today. So let's begin at Miller Park. Bottom 9, 3-2 Padres. It's Trevor time. Hoffman trying to shut the door. And he gets the Prince. There's 1 out. After a double by Corey Hart, pinch hitter Lance Nix. Hoffman gets him. So the Padres 1 out away here. And look, it's the son of Padre great Tony Gwynn. It's Tony Gwynn Jr., who Tony Gwynn Sr. back on September 28th of 96 had a 2-out, 2-run single in the 8th inning on the second to last day of the season. The Padres a 4-2 win over the Dodgers. It gave them their first playoff spot since 1984, so sort of an eerie coincidence here on the second to last day of the season in 2007. Gwynn Jr., right field corner. Hart scores. Gwynn into third. Padres owner John Morse can't believe it. Yeah, it's a run. It's 3-3. Hoffman would get out of the inning, though. Bottom 11 are on the corners. Pinch hitter Vinny Rottino up there for the Brew Crew. Nothing to play for them anymore but pride. They're not going to go away. First pitch drawn in infield. There it is. Ryan Braun scores. The Padres' loss clinched the NL West and home field throughout the National League playoffs for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Brewers win 4-3-11. So the D-backs watched the Padre loss in Milwaukee. So Arizona clinched the division title before the game at Colorado. A Rocky loss would eliminate the Rocks from the wild card, so they got to have this one. Bottom one, here's Matt Holliday, your MVP candidate, off the wall in right center. It scores 2. It's the 50th double for Matt Holliday. Part of a 4-run Colorado first, though they weren't fooling around here. Brad Hawk, bottom 3. This is just a smash. Garrett Atkins scores. Hawk, triple, 5-1 Rockies. Again, the game they got to have. Troy Tulowitzki, in the last 2 weeks of the season, has probably passed Milwaukee's Ryan Braun for National League Rookie of the Year.
Really?
Yeah, really. This is a grand slam for Tulowitzki. 11-1 Colorado, 24th of the season for Tulowitzki. He gets the curtain call, and the Rockies are still alive. Here's the wild card. Padres, one up on the Phillies, the Mets, and the Rockies. A possible 4-way wild card tie is still in play. Now, here's the scenario for the 4 National League postseason hopefuls. A Padres win in Milwaukee tomorrow gives San Diego the wild card. By the way, Bud Black says he will start Brett Tomko Sunday and save Jake Peavy for a potential Monday playoff game. The Rockies need a win over Arizona and a Padres loss to the Brewers to force a tiebreaker. In the NL East, both the Mets and Phillies need to win and have the other guy lose.
All right, when SportsCenter returns, we return to college football right after the break. 2 big wins in the SEC and Big Ten. Another disappointing loss for the Lions. And the Badgers survive a shootout against a previously unbeaten Big Ten foe. Who made the game-winning play Saturday in Madison? Keep it right here. Find out.
The chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup is on ABC tomorrow at 1 Eastern.
Oh, hey, Coach! Those guys just took off with all your cold, refreshing Coors Light. Who do they think they are? They are who we thought they were.
They are who you thought they were? Well, who do you think they were?
They are who we thought they were.
Okay. Well, if you knew who they were, why didn't you stop them?
We let them off the hook.
Frost Brewed Coors Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL.
Coach, those guys that took your Coors Light, they went that way.
Those guys are toast.
Get ready for the biggest comedy of the year.
My mom's finally arrived.
It's Ben Stiller's funniest movie.
You gay? No, quick, Brad Pitt. Russell Crowe. Who's hotter? Brad Pitt. Don't you mean who's hotter career-wise?
The Heartbreak Kid. Rated R.
Rough meets smooth. 4-wheel independent suspension, the Ridgeline, built by Honda.
High-powered offenses face off as a pair of dynamic duos look to let it fly in Cincy. ESPN Monday Night Football, Patriots Bengals at
Number 8.
That's me.
School lunch, yeah?
Yep.
You look like a ham and cheese girl.
Yes.
Okay, well, there's tavern ham. That's really good.
That's very good.
All right. Thick or thin?
Not thin and not thick. I mean, like, maybe thin and medium, like, in between.
I can do that. We're on to cheese.
Maybe 6 of the speckled ones. Thank you very much.
Why, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, see you next time. Number 9.
Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Gold's Gym is breaking down all of the barriers to affordable family fitness in Tallahassee. Introducing our one low monthly price, $14.99. That's right, pay month to month, no more long-term contracts, ever again. The new and improved Gold's Gym is setting the standard, only $14.99 a month with no contract. Gold's Gym is changing fitness in Tallahassee forever. Affordable fitness for only $14.99 a month. Gold's Gym is bringing affordable fitness to Tallahassee. Our mission is to make Tallahassee the healthiest city in America.
Let's begin a Big Ten run. 4-0 Ohio State, presumably ready to trounce a Minnesota team that had already lost to Bowling Green and Florida Atlantic. They're fired up, the Gophers.
DB seconds! Tied in! Playmakers! Oh, Lord! Jawbone breakers!
Brian will
Can you imagine if they played Syracuse in those uniforms? The TV would explode. Second quarter, Todd Beckman, Brian Robisky. Watch the catch. Whoa!
Quite a throw, too.
52-yard touchdown, but they blocked the extra point, so it's 20-7 Buckeyes. Robisky.
That's nice.
I have a feeling we're going to see that later again in top play. It's a top play nominee, so we're halfway there. Fourth quarter, Beckman. Perfect strike here, Brian Hartline. Pulls it in, 19-yard TD. One more look. Going to go outside shoulder here. That's where you want it, John. 30-7, the Buckeyes roll over the Golden Gophers in Minnesota.
Michigan State 4-0, Wisconsin 4-0. Wisconsin looks to start 5-0 for the third time in the last 4 years, continue its home dominance against an unranked yet improved Michigan State team. Spartans look to continue the momentum from last week's win over Notre Dame. Brett Bielema with a nice pass to Tyler Donovan. Donovan goes deep for Kyle Jefferson. Donovan went 15 for 20. Meanwhile, another hard hit. Steve, I want you to listen.
All right.
Nikes. Tyler Donovan somehow gets up. That was Nehemiah Warwick with the hit. Fourth quarter, Michigan State down by 10. Brian Hoyer to Mark Dell. Spartans, it's now just 34-31. Now 4th and 2, 75 seconds to go. Oh boy. Oh boy. They fell in love with a little screenplay late in the game. Went to it one too many times, and Wisconsin goes to 5-0.
21st ranked Penn State trying to bounce back from last week's loss to Michigan with a win at Illinois. Third quarter, Anthony Morelli did not have a good day. Intercepted in the end zone by Jay Lehman. Joe Paterno said the interceptions are something that we're going to have to address. There were a lot of them. 2:30 left. Penn State down 7. 4th and 13. Got to go Morelli. Going to get a first down here, but you also got to hold on to the football. Oh, that's a turnover. The play is under review. You'll see that Justin Harrison knocks the ball loose just before Morelli's knee touches. As we take a look, the Lions on the verge of a second straight loss here unless they can turn it around. You'll see the ball comes loose just before the knee is down, so 20 seconds left. Morelli with a chance to tie. Morelli, 3 picks and a lost fumble, all deep in Illinois territory. The Illini win. They're 4-1. In fact, they're 2-0 in the Big Ten for the first time since 1991. 27-20, they beat Penn State. Still more top 25 college football upsets on the way, including another top 10 bust back east. And which National League contender clinched a playoff spot tonight? Find out. Sports Center back after this. Stay with us.
I'm live with Brian Wang, MVP of the Offsite Training Seminar. Brian, how'd you get it done today?
Well, staying awake during the presentation was tough, but Susie had my back, and I was able to track my fantasy players and get some pretty big alerts.
Brian, where do you go from here?
Email me. Oh, room 408. Accounts receivable is having after hours.
All right, back to the studio.
Be an ESPN MVP with Verizon Wireless. Get fantasy tools, instant team and player access, personalized alerts, and more with ESPN MVP. Only from Verizon Wireless.
Part of being a great player is having great vision. So when it came time for me to get a new TV, I got a Vizio. It's clear, it's crisp, it gives me all the details I'm used to seeing on the field. My Vizio makes me feel like I'm right in the game.
He caught him napping.
40, what a block, 45, better.
Get in the game with the new Vizio, America's #1 flat panel HD TV company.
Comfortable in jeans that are tough. I'm comfortable in jeans that fit great. I'm comfortable in Wrangler.
Wrangler 5-star premium denim jeans. Built tough with 14-ounce heavyweight denim. Built comfortable with a stone-washed finish and relaxed fit. Wrangler 5-star premium denim jeans. Satisfaction guaranteed. Wrangler. Real, comfortable jeans.
We're back for a D&B Game Time update. In racing, the leader says, "Back off, little man." "Booyah! Not in my house, mister." And what's this guy looking at? Victory, baby! Hey, everyone wins with Dave & Buster's 25th anniversary Eat and Play combo. Choose from 25, yes, 25 big-time entrees and get a $10 game card for just $15.99. That's worth celebrating. Whoa, fellas, save some for the end zone.
Don't adjust your sets. It's a SportsCenter reset. We recap what we've been through so far. Big day in the NL East. Marlins and Mets. And Shea, bottom 5 lastings. Millage had a couple of home runs for the Mets. This made it 9-0. To that point, they'd scored 9 times. John Maine, 14 Ks. Almost had a no-hitter. Mets win 13-0 in a game they had to have. What about the Phils hosting the Nats to Meat Hook? Ryan Howard filled Einhorn with oil and glove. 1 run scores. It's 3-0 Washington. Bottom 9, Carlos Ruiz. Last chance for the Phils. Phils lose. Mets win. They're tied atop the National League East with 1 to go. This is just the 3rd time in 25 years we've had 2 teams tied for their division lead entering the final day of the regular season without a postseason bid already locked up. The last time it happened, 1993, the Braves and Giants were all even. Dodgers beat the Giants while Tom Glavine was pitching for the Braves, past the Rockies and the NL West title. Here's the scenario for the 4 National League postseason hopefuls again. Padres win in Milwaukee tomorrow, gives San Diego the wild card. Remember, Brett Tomko starts. They're saving Jake Peavy in case they need him Monday. Rockies need a win over Arizona and a Padre loss to the Brewers to force a tiebreaker in the NL East. Both the Mets and Phillies have to win and have the other guy lose.
Crazy day in college football. Auburn, Florida. 3 seconds to go. Wes Byram to win the game from 43 yards. And Byram, the freshman, I believe he could be a future senator there now.
Oh, Woodfoot Byram, yeah.
And Auburn knocks off Florida in the swamp, 20-17. Kevin Eberhardt for 45. Oklahoma, Colorado, and Colorado winner chicken dinner as they knock off Oklahoma 27-24. Cal, Oregon. Ducks down by 7. They're trying to tie the game late. Dennis Dixon, Cameron Colvin, but Colvin fumbles the ball before he reaches the goal line and inside the pylon. That equals a touchback. Tears in her eyes, I guess. Cal wins. All right, Maryland, Rutgers, first meeting between these schools since 1942. Rutgers looks to stay unbeaten with Big East play starting next week. Jordan Steffi's pass incomplete, and he's injured on the play with Maryland up 14-10. Wow, helmet to helmet. And he'll be replaced by Chris Turner. 4th quarter, Maryland up by 3. Turner, big 3rd and 12. Laquan Williams with a beautiful sprawled out catch. Very nice, and the Terps would score a touchdown and go up by 10. Ray Rice will make it 27-24. Rutgers needs to come back. 4th and 10, though. Mike Teal's going to be sacked. And Maryland upsets Rutgers 34-24.
Number 13, Clemson. Tommy Bowden's Tigers 4-0, rolling into Georgia Tech. First quarter, freshman DJ Donnelly. What a game he had. He blocks the punt here. He also recovered a Clemson fumble on a kickoff. Yellow Jackets take over. Clemson, by the way, also missed 4 field goals. To Shard Choice, he ran for a $145 with a bum hammy. Georgia Tech up 7-3. 4th quarter, Cullen Harper down 13-3. Picked off by Morgan Burnett. Georgia Tech upsets Clemson 13-3. They held Thunder and Lightning to a combined 62 yards. Tigers dropped to 4-1.
Alabama, Florida State, first meeting between these 2 teams since 1974. Alabama won that game 8-7. First quarter. Yeah, Florida State drew Weatherford, sacked by Ezekiel Knight. Check out Knight. He leaps over a teammate to get to Weatherford. End of the first. Bobby Bowden puts in backup quarterback Devontre Richardson. I wish my name was Devontre.
Devontre Butchigrod. Sure, I can see it.
You can't
that's
get,
that's a big font.
License plates. From like when you're in California or something, you want to buy the little license plate.
You have to shorten it like the...
Second quarter, Bowden brings 3rd-string quarterback Xavier Lee in. Lee, he finds Cody Fagg. He eludes Marquise Johnson in 70-yard touchdown. How about Florida State? They beat Alabama 21-14.
Jimmy Johnson's backup car has moved him to the back of the field for the Nextel Cup's LifeLock 400 in Kansas City. Johnson won the pole for Sunday's event, but trashed his ride in today's final practice session and had to switch to the backup car. And by rule, that drops Johnson from first to last on the starting grid. Kind of a big mistake considering Johnson ranks third in the chase for the championship, only 4 points behind leader Jeff Gordon. Scott Riggs moves into the pole for Sunday's race at the Kansas Speedway, where they ran the Busch event Saturday. Carl Edwards currently first in that point standing, but having some trouble here on lap 151. Loses control, smashes the front outside wall. Car is totaled. Edwards is fine. You know, some of those scratches will probably buff right out. Lap 183, Matt Kenseth trying to fight off Kyle Busch. Look at this, neck and neck. Busch takes the lead. Gets by Kenseth on the turn. 17 laps to go. Final lap. Busch still out in front. It is, after all, a Busch Series event. So Kenseth in the 17 car. Trying to make a move to the inside. Got to hold him off. And he does. Kyle Busch, it's time to make the donuts. He wins at Kansas heading into Sunday's event.
Coming up, Notre Dame's historic start to the season. Perhaps getting worse today. Straight ahead, is there now a quarterback controversy in South Bend?
I'm Tamika Catching.
Diane Taurasi.
Sherry Nelson.
I'm Peekaboo Street.
And I got something to say.
Female athletes have to overcome the bias that their game isn't as good as the men's game.
Are boys bigger, stronger, faster? Yes. Is that all that has to do with being an athlete? No.
The half pipe doesn't care that I'm a girl.
I want to pitch for the Boston Red Sox. And when I look in the mirror, I see an athlete. I am a runner.
A snowboarder.
Ball player.
Triathlete.
Softball player.
I am an athlete.
And I'm proud of that athlete.
It's not a girl thing. It's not a boy thing. It's a skills thing.
Mercury just made the perfect match. 2 great styles, 1 great price. Take your pick. A well-equipped Mariner or well-equipped Milan, both with moonroof and 6-disc CD changer. Your choice for $229 a month. Milan earned J.D. Power and Associates' highest ranking in initial quality, and this is the safest and quietest Mariner ever. It's your choice. The Mercury Mariner or Milan with moonroof and CD changer for only $229 a month. Either way, you've got to put Mercury on your list.
I wonder if our ancestors liked to play football.
Dude, they were just trying to survive.
They did like to throw rocks, though.
Good times, man.
Caveman premieres Tuesday at 8/7 Central on ABC. Start here.
Now on DVD, The Team.
Welcome to New York, Mr. Jackson.
The Turmoil.
I'll manage how I want to manage.
The Triumph. A 3-disc special edition with over 2 hours of bonus features. The Bronx is Burning. Available now.
With 1-year OnStar service, a 403 horsepower engine, and best-in-class highway gas mileage, the Cadillac Escalade is beautiful inside and out. Visit Proctor Cadillac and Spence Cadillac for this attractive offer.
At the Chevy Model Year-End event, the last of the 07s are going fast. So you better act now. Just click and go to Chevy.com to check out great offers. Then get to your Chevy dealer before yours is gone. Get $2,000 cash back on all 2007 Chevy HHR LT models.
Click on Chevy.com, then see your Southern Chevy dealer.
Welcome back to SportsCenter. John Butchergoss, Steve Berthiaume. Red Sox Indians began the weekend tie for the best record in baseball. Red Sox home to the Twins. J.D. Drew having a great September. That's a 3-run Jackson, and the Red Sox win 6-4. So with an Indian loss, Boston would have the best record as long as they're in the AL and have the home field throughout the playoffs, as long as they're in the playoffs. Kansas City and the Indians. Indians 18-8 in September, but Joey Gathright scores Justin Hubert, and the Royals win 4-3. So Boston does indeed finish with the best record, not only in the American League, but in baseball. So here it is, Game 1, Red Sox Angels. We assume Lackey and Beckett will pitch that one on Wednesday. The Yankee-Indian series begins on Thursday. So the Red Sox and the Angels, as you can see, a lot of days off there. Game 1 day off, Game 2 day off, and then 3-4 back-to-back, then another day off between 4 and 5.
Second-ranked LSU trying not to look ahead to next week visit over Florida. A near 6-touchdown favorite over Tulane as they fight for the rag here. Second quarter, Matt Flynn. Safety holding in the end zone. So Tulane is on the board. They're down 7-2 later in the second quarter. It's a reverse! Andre Anderson untouched. Tulane 41-point underdog, but they're up 9-7. Final minute first half. Matt Flynn had to shake off 6 sacks in this game. Chris Mitchell. This led to a field goal, so LSU at least leading at halftime. It's 10-9, but they got it going second half. 24 unanswered after halftime. Charles Scott up the middle. LSU hasn't lost to Tulane since 1982. They win here 34-9. LSU 5-0, and they get Florida next.
Hawaii, Idaho. Hawaii has won 14 of its last 15. Colt Brennan, quarterback, did not play in last week's win over Charleston Southern due to a sprained ankle. Heisman hopeful. Brennan to Malcolm Lane, 21-7 Hawaii. Brennan to Devon Bess. Brennan, 3 touchdown passes, also had a career-high 5 interceptions. He now has 108 career touchdown passes, 13 away from the all-time record held by Ty Detmer, who has 121. Meanwhile, Hawaii, interception there by Myron Newberry. They go on to win 48-20. Idaho falls to 1-4.
Now to Charlie Weiss and the Fighting Irish in West Lafayette trying to avoid that 0-5 start. You don't want to get Regis any more upset than he already is. Second quarter, Curtis Painter, Dorian Bryant. Painter 22 of 37, 252, 3 scores. Irish down 23-0 at halftime before Jimmy Clausen gets his first career touchdown pass in the third, but they missed the extra point. Later in the third, Clausen hit. Evan Sharpley has to come in. Sharpley in the fourth finds Duval Calmera. Notre Dame missed another extra point. Calmera has it. Irish down 26-12. Sharpley threw for 208, 16-26. Later in the fourth, Sharpley, how's this for a Notre Dame name? Golden Tate. Notre Dame back within 7. Painter, though. Acrobatic catch at the goal line by Dustin Keller. Purdue 5-0. Worst start in Irish history extends to 0-5, and they have UCLA, Boston College, and USC all up next.
The first 2 games of the NHL's 90th season will be played in London, England, as the defending Stanley Cup champion Anaheim Ducks meet the LA Kings. The first game held today at noon Eastern. Like many championship teams, the Ducks will try to defend their title without several key contributors. Teemu Selanne and Scott Niedermayer haven't officially retired, but they did not participate in training camp. The Ducks also lost Dustin Penner and his 29 goals to Edmonton as a free agent. The Kings, they are loaded with good young players and 2 Rookie of the Year candidates. Let's go to London. Yeah, first time ever NHL game played in Europe. The reigning champion Ducks taking on the Kings. Southern California rivalry. Alexander Frolov, beautiful pass to Mike Camilleri. He genuflects and scores the first goal of the NHL season. He had 34 last year. Ilya Bryzgalov in net for the Ducks. He's in for J.S. Jaguar, who's out early due to injury. Tom Pricing gets the goal. Watch it again. The puck actually goes off Camilleri one-handed. 2 goals for Waiter, I'll have the Camilleri. Ducks up 3-0. How about Jonathan Bernier, 19 years old, denied by Corey Perry, post to post. Did somebody step on a duck? Yes, the Kings did. They win 4-1. Bernier and Jack Johnson also played very well for LA.
Coming up, the Game Day Gang breaks down a wild day of big wins and even bigger upsets. Which top 25 teams are for real? Find out when SportsCenter returns.
Sink your teeth into the official candy bar of Major League Baseball. Baby Ruth from Nestle. It's loaded with good stuff you can really savor. Baby Ruth. Savor the good stuff.
The moves that I make me who I am. I am Gilbert Arenas.
and my moves are my DNA. NBA Live 08, rated E for everyone. EA Sports, it's in the game.
Employee disability can bring even the healthiest business to its knees. At Unum, our benefits not only help your people stay on their feet, they keep your entire company at the top of its game. Unum, better benefits at work.
Some guys like to relax in a leather recliner. But to others, there's nothing better than cardboard on concrete. Valvoline, 100 years under the hood.
These days, it seems like they're trying to protect us from everything. Roll-On protects us from odor. Coffee has a warning label. This is hot. You think we're missing the point? Let's just keep our eye on the big ball. Protect us from the things that matter. The things we can't see coming.
With the game. Coming up right after Sports Center, college football final powered by Pontiac. All the highlights and analysis for another wild day in college football. You can log on to ESPN.com, search Pontiac to vote for the very best plays.
All right, a lot of big underdogs not only scaring big-time teams today, but winning outright. Colorado over Oklahoma was the biggest in terms of shock value and what the experts thought. This list doesn't even include ranked teams like West Virginia and Oregon, which lost to other ranked foes this week. For a big wrap-up, let's head out to Eugene. Chris Fowler and the College Game Day fellas.
Well, reminded again, there's a pretty simple mantra in this sport. No foregone conclusions. You could watch college football for a decade and not see a weekend like this. 6 of the top 11 go down. 4 of them lose at home. 3 of those 4 favored by 17 points or more. The underdogs howling all over the place. USF got it started on Friday. Look at this thing. Oklahoma, Florida, Texas, Rutgers, Oregon, Clemson, ranked number 13, all out. Florida and Texas lose at home. The teams that beat them a year ago. So much for payback. And Florida and Oregon here losing 2 of the toughest places for visitors to win. Why does this happen all in one day?
Well, I give you a reason why I think 3 of them, Oklahoma, Texas, were playing next week. They were looking ahead of that. And Florida's going to play LSU next week. They forgot about Auburn. Look ahead, and you get killed in college football.
In the words of Herman Edwards, the Kansas City Chiefs coach, this is why we play the game.
All
See,
right.
You got teams like Oregon who played against Cal last year. Cal beat them. Cal is not intimidated by Oregon. No matter what their ranking is, no matter what the bookies say, they're going to come in here and play a tough game against Oregon. Same thing with Texas. Kansas State beat them last year. They know they can play with Texas. Yeah. They're not intimidated by Longhorns or their ranking, and they came and they beat them.
Well, not intimidated by the setting, apparently, either, because some of these teams are winning on the road. Now, there's great turnaround stories, teams like Auburn and Colorado that could have turned their seasons around. But if you want to look at it from the favorites who are chasing the title and who lost, what's the biggest disappointment in your
Well, I think Oklahoma, because I picked them to play in a national title game, and that doesn't look good now. And Desmond, let me tell you another thing. Colorado played a beautiful game, a perfect game. It's a big win for the Colorado program. But Oklahoma's beating everybody by 50 points.
I know. Yeah.
Oh, no way. They should have gone in and smashed them. But
yeah, I know.
Next year. Wait till next year.
There you go. Exactly. We're in the same boat. I picked them to be a national championship game too, but my biggest disappointment, Florida. How can they lose at home to Auburn? I mean, they had everything going for them. You thought Tim Tebow would will them to victory like he's done time and time again, but when you look at that defense, I think it's really been greatly understated. They lost a lot of talent. People really haven't been talking about them a lot, and they finally broke.
Well, there's a strange history, though, in Auburn, Florida. Big upsets for the Tigers. Oklahoma self-destructed at Colorado. That's what makes it the most disappointing in my mind. They had that game in hand and let it get away. Now, what's your top 5 look like? Because there's been no week in recent years where the top 5s and top 10's been shaken up like this.
Well, I go USC number 1, and then LSU number 2, Cal, Ohio State, and Wisconsin. Remember, Ohio State plays Wisconsin, and Cal plays USC. So my other team, LSU, that I picked, looking good for the title game.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, I have I have LSU at number 1 because they have a great defense, the best one I've seen thus far. After number 2, I have USC because they have a good defense, not sold on their skill position players yet. Cal, magnificent win over Oregon, and then I have OSU, Ohio State, and then Kentucky because of Andre Woodson, the 2 impressive wins they had against Louisville and Arkansas.
Based on the merit of the wins, I can see it, but it looks weird to see Kentucky up there in the top 5.
It's not a basketball
USC
poll,
has to visit Cal. Remember, though, Florida won a national title last year despite losing early. Don't give up on Oklahoma. Just because you lost this weekend, you're not out of it. You just need some help, as the Gators got last year.
A lot of help.
When SportsCenter returns, we play back Saturday's top 10 plays, including more than a few from college football. Did a game-winning kick also win our top spot?
And it's on its way. Does it stay true? Yes! Wow! Colorado is shocked Oklahoma.
Breakdown brought to you by McDonald's.
The FIFA Women's World Cup Final. Reigning champs Germany take on the flashy Brazilians. Which side will hoist the sport's greatest trophy? The FIFA Women's World Cup Final. Coverage begins tomorrow at 7 a.m. on ESPN2.
Rough meets smooth. 4-wheel independent suspension, the Ridgeline, built by Honda.
Comfortable in jeans that are tough. I'm comfortable in jeans that fit great. I'm comfortable in Wrangler.
Wrangler 5-star premium denim jeans. Built tough with 14-ounce heavyweight denim. Built comfortable with a stone-washed finish and relaxed fit. Wrangler 5-star premium denim jeans. Satisfaction guaranteed. Wrangler. Real, comfortable jeans.
Kire.
This week on Countdown, Favre has found magic in Green Bay.
More conservative, do not turn it over. He's never been conservative. All he wants to do is win.
And how the torch has been passed to this Dallas QB. Sunday NFL Countdown, 11 a.m. on ESPN.
Welcome to Channel 1. Now this is where our new material comes in. We get a ton of new content in every week. Music, movies, shows, all kinds of stuff. He's one of our best workers. That's weird.
There's always something new on demand. Channel 1 from Comcast.
Action Marine and Power Sports is the fastest growing marine dealer in the tri-state. The best price and selection. This 2007 Larson 180 Sports is loaded for only $15,995. This 07 Skeeter ZX 225 bass boat, $10,000 off. An 07 Cobia 194 center console, loaded, and it saves you $6,000. 2008 Mud Buddy special boats, Yamaha Wave Runners, mini trucks, golf carts, duck blinds, we have got it all. Action Marine and Power Sports, Highway 84 East in Bainbridge.
U.S. coach Greg Ryan tossed goalkeeper Hope Solo off the team for tomorrow's third-place game against Norway. His decision, which had the support of the players, came after he benched Solo for, you know the story, lashed out at the coach, and it was the wrong decision in starting Brianna Scurry in favor of Solo. Well, the 36-year-old Scurry, she will face Norway on Sunday in a game that precedes the title game between defending champion Germany and Brazil in the Women's World Cup. So Hope Solo is off the team, and the 20 players support U.S. coach Greg Ryan's decision.
And some breaking news from Kansas City, where we showed you earlier Kyle Busch, who won the Busch race today. He still earns the win, but he will be penalized after his car failed post-race inspection. Intake manifold did not meet specifications.
Of course not. All right, SportsCenter Top 10. Number 10, Fred, no font. Kansas State, Texas, Jordy Nelson. Check out the blocking old Jordy gets. Jordy. 89 yards on the punt return. More on this game later. If you're just joining us, you won't believe who won this game.
He's great in a video game, by the way. Oh, he's unstoppable. Temple and Army, number 9, Caleb Campbell. Boom. Darryl Robinson. 2 more looks as the Black Knights beat the Owls. Ouch. 37-21 your final. Salute.
Good that wasn't his head. Driver 8, take a break. Ben Olsen, Brandon Rizal, and he goes down the middle, 64 yards. UCLA an easy winner of Oregon State, 40-14.
Best name in college football, number 7, Air Force Navy, Kaipo Noa Kaihaku Inada. Look at him go. Kaipo Noa Kaihaku Inada, 78 yards. Middies beat Air Force, 31-20.
Nali Kaliki Maka. Number 6, back to Kansas State and Texas, James Johnson. Takes the ball at the 15. He's across the 35 to the 40. He's across midfield. He could go all the way. He does go all the way. And check out Coach Ron Prince.
Hello.
Yes. Wildcats win 41-21.
Number 5, Oklahoma, Colorado. This is before the game. Garrett Hartley kicking 70-yard field goals. Hello.
What?
Nails it.
70?
And coincidentally, not ironically, this game would end on a field goal or later.
Got to give me one of those shorts.
Sean, back to you.
Yeah. Number 4, Bobby Orr. Hello, Trent Guy. That's a sick one-hand catch, the kid said here. Nice. Too fast, actually.
What was the name that you wanted to be before?
Devontre?
How about Aurelius? Aurelius Butchigras?
Again, tough to get the license plate when you travel.
Penn State, Illinois, Aurelius Ben. 90 yards as he matriculates the ball down the field.